Welcome to A Call to Action, a series presented by Great Eastern Radio and Brattleboro Community Television. We're covering many different topics from scams that are popping up to the economy right here in Windham County. Today, we're talking with Angela Earl Gray, and she is one of the people who's helped organize something called BAMA, which stands for Brattleboro Area Mutual Aid. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, so tell us exactly, let's start with the basics for those who might not know. What is BAMA?
So Brattleboro Area Mutual Aid is wanting to make sure that all of the different neighborhoods in Brattleboro are connecting with the people that you're living closest to so that people can help support people. We have people who have needs that are unusual during this time.
Oh, yeah.
And we also have a lot of people that want to be helping and want to be supportive, and in a way, helping to empower them and providing that opportunity is a way to help them at the same time they're helping someone else. So we're trying to grow that network.
Okay, so now what I know about it is I should know more about it than I do because my wife is a neighborhood point person. But how many point people do you have?
Oh, I believe right now we have 27 neighborhoods, and I would say at this point 80% of those neighborhoods have at least one point person.
Okay.
There are some neighborhoods where there are up to 3 people who are working together to do some of the coordination. At this point, most of the people signing up are people who are volunteering, but we anticipate there's going to be more needs as time passes, so we want to make sure there's some redundancy to the organization.
Yeah, I think redundant platforms are always a really good thing in times like this. So let's talk about what it means to be a part of Brattleboro Area Mutual Aid, and what does a neighborhood point person do?
Sure. So we have a survey out that's encouraging community members to sign up and get involved. When they're completing that, they're letting you know whether or not they have any needs that are immediate or anticipated, and if they're able to help, and what neighborhood they're in. So each of our point people can see the input from people in their neighborhood and can reach out and form connections and start looking at where there's someone with a need and someone who's able to help and matching them up. So we've matched people up to pick up groceries for people, to help pick up prescriptions, and honestly, just some people who are doing check-in calls on people who are very isolated and wouldn't necessarily have someone noticing if something happened.
Okay.
So the point people are the ones who are coordinating that activity, and they're also helping to build the network more deeply in their area. So they're doing some outreach. They're making sure people know about the opportunity to get involved.
Okay. And if somebody were interested in actually volunteering and being, what areas are you looking for volunteers for somebody to be a community point person?
I don't know if I can do them all off the top of my head. I know that in Main Street, we have a person interested, but we don't have anyone who's actively working in that area. We don't have anyone on Belmont Street. And honestly, no matter what neighborhood you're in at this point, when you fill out the survey, you can say, I'm willing to be a point person, because even some of the areas where we have point people, we don't have that depth yet. We have a single person who's managing it, and if something happens with their own family and situation where they can't continue, we don't have backup.
Right. Okay. All right. And this is really just sort of a coordination effort. You're not like you're not going out and getting food for people unless it's to pick it up from the food bank itself.
So we have had some informal donations happen. Generally, if there's somebody who has an ongoing food instability, we're trying to get them connected with Groundworks, Foodworks, the Retreat Farm program. There's a lot of great programs going on. We're not giving them food. There have been some times where when the need came to our attention, there was going to be a gap until there was the next opportunity to pick up food. And we have had people do some private donations along with the delivery, but it's not the norm.
Right. Well, as I've said to you before we hopped on, and I've said during these interviews, nobody pandemics well, and with a disaster comes a little chaos. So just being able to plug those holes quickly is essential. Um, I applaud you for that. So this is nothing that you're actively seeking donations for. This is just more, hey, we just need neighbors checking on neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. And again, there's a little bit that's happening with people who are aware of a need and willing to speak up and donate. But in general, there are some very established programs with some great distribution networks that are much more in need of donations, monetary donations, than
Right.
mutual aid is.
Yeah, yeah, and I know that as you mentioned, Retreat Farm is doing a nice weekly service for bags of groceries to kind of help fill the gap, and of course, Groundworks Collaborative is that sort of single point of entry to help out everybody, and I know I've been on those calls, and those people are those people are working overtime.
And there are also a lot of non-traditional things that have popped up. There's a woman who I know her first name is Nicole and that she lives in the Pine Street area. And she's been personally making meals for 50, 60 people a week.
Yeah.
So a lot of good things are happening in terms of people really stepping up and making the best of a situation we all wish we weren't in.
Yeah, for sure. So if somebody is interested, what is the best way to get involved? How do they contact you?
Completing the survey is absolutely the best way to get involved. We have a website now. It's bamavermont.org, and we're going to put the link in the description, and that people can go and fill out a survey. The one thing I will say is that it asks about your needs and your anticipated needs. If you have an emergency need, if there's something that I really need help in the next few hours, there are phone numbers on there for the coordinating team as well. And it is okay for someone to reach out directly to us if there's something they need help with immediately.
Yeah, I know I spent a little time this weekend printing up forms to put in mailboxes and things. So I know a little something about that. So yes, absolutely, those numbers are there, and they're there for a reason. And don't be shy. Of course, make sure that the need is real is the one thing that I would highly recommend. All right, so it's Bama. Is it Vermont spelled out or VT?
Just VT.
Okay. All right. We'll make sure that when we're done and this is posted, that we have links to that site so that you can click on that should you need these services or want to get involved. And as you said towards the beginning of this, and I just want to circle back to it, you have 80% of the sectors broken down, and people are there and volunteering, and you're still looking for some more redundancies.
Yep. And the neighborhoods where people aren't volunteering, each of us as a coordinator is watching the neighborhoods that are in our area that haven't had someone speak up. So if you have a need in that area, it's still going to get seen. We're still going to match you up. It's just we don't have as many human resources as we wish we did in those regions.
Right. And let's talk about what being a point person is. Now, again, we touched on it a little bit, but it doesn't, even if you're just that point of contact with that phone number that is distributed so that they can call if you're in that section, that person doesn't necessarily have to leave their house. They
No.
can just make that phone call.
It's a great role for somebody who is 100% secluded. I actually have not been out of my own house in, I think, 3 weeks, and all of the phone calls, the video technology. There's just so much that can be done from the home.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the people who are not feeling like they need to super strictly isolate because they don't have contact with people who are high risk, having them be volunteers that can help provide rides to people who are vulnerable and really need to get someplace, or help pick things up out in the community, it's an incredibly valuable role to be playing right now.
It really is. It's great. And I applaud all of you that came up with this idea and began to coordinate it. Once social distancing is away, I will personally hang a medal around your neck for thinking of this and doing this.
You can throw it from, no, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll wait until the social distancing is done, and then I will hang the medal around your neck. But thank you for doing this. I think it's a super
Thank you.
important person. More information will be in a link below this video or in this podcast for BAMA, BAMAVT.org. If you can't wait. And Angela, thank you for jumping on a call to action today.
Thanks for having me, Peter, and thank you for the work your wife is doing. Generally, whenever one spouse is doing something for a volunteer job, the other spouse gets pulled in to do at least little pieces of it. So thanks for the things I suspect you're helping with.
Yeah, actually, more it's a voluntold position at this point, but it's all good. It's all good stuff. We're all in this together. There's
Yeah,
nobody that's any different than the next guy. So stuff like this is super important, and thank you for doing it.
thank you.